Hello, everybody. It's the penultimate betting weekly game bet match of the 2025 ATP Tours tennis season. It might be coming to the end of this show, but the content never stops here on the Betting Weekly Studios. Lots of soccer coming your way, international break this week, and also our American friends Doug Kazarian and Mike Carver have been smashing it up with 5 successive daily doubles. Going to go for 6 today. We've got it all covered for you here on the fastest growing sports betting YouTube channel. The excitement in my voice, and it's coming to the end of the year, and I'm trying to build myself up, but really now I'm going to introduce you to Sean Calvert, who's going to take the tone down to a very different level, I'm guessing, with the preview of 2 matches for tomorrow on Wednesday over the ATP Tour Championships over in Turin. Good afternoon, Sean.
Good afternoon. This is my normal tone. I don't have a change in tone, do I? I don't know.
No, but I just think that sometimes, I could sense a moan coming up. And when I sense a moan's going to come up, I know that basically it might be a little bit different. And I sense a moan's coming up.
Not really. I mean, I don't like the Tour Finals. Everybody knows that, but that's nothing new. I haven't really got that much to moan about. The dog's gone back. Not back. Right. That sounds harsh. He's gone to his what they call forever home. So he went on Sunday. So hopefully he's settling in there nicely. So it kind of, it feels like you've kind of got your life back. You can go and do stuff without thinking, well, what am I going to do with the dog? Is Natasha here to look after it and all that sort of stuff? So no moaning from me. Lagan's at school, Natasha's off somewhere. There's no dog. It's bliss over here. No moaning.
Well, I was thinking more about the fast calls going on in Turin. The fact that today we've got back-to-back matches for Taylor Fritz. The fact that we didn't know when we did the preview show, all our bets were void. The matches were void. The group was void because Novak Djokovic pulled out the tournament. Yep. You've got players coming in here that are absolutely hanging, absolutely done for the season, and it just looks a mess.
It's always like this. I mean, not quite as bad as this year, but I've never understood why people get excited about this tournament. It's just an exhibition at the end of the season with ranking. People are going to moan at me now, but I know it's not an actual technical exhibition. You get a load of ranking points and a load of money. I can see why the players do it, but this is just about making money for everybody concerned, isn't it? That it's always been that way. The tennis season should finish in September, end of September, something like that. It shouldn't drag on to sort of mid-November. I mean, it's I've talked about this many times. I don't need to go over it again. It's a pointless tournament, really. But some people like it. I personally don't. But it's difficult. End of the season, players are tired. It's a tough one.
I think you'd enjoy it if it was more competitive. Unfortunately, we've got 2 players that's so far ahead of everybody else. 2 players who bust the gut to get here, and they're absolutely out on their feet.
Yes.
And a couple of other players who've got no belief that they can beat the top 2 players in the world. And that pretty much sums up the Tour Championship. So, unfortunately, it's not a great renewal this time around. But you did say it's all about making money, and that's what you're here to do. You're here to make us some money.
I can try.
So, here we go. We're going to start off with the early match tomorrow on Wednesday. This match starts at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. It's the match between Ben Shelton and Felix Auger-Aliassime. So it's an American against a Canadian affair. If we look at the head-to-head, there was only one previous head-to-head meeting between the two of them, which was in the 2024 French Open, and Felix Auger-Aliassime won that very, very convincingly. I'm going to ask you to break down the puzzle from this match, which is an intriguing puzzle. It's a tough puzzle to solve. But before we do that, what are the all-important conditions? I saw some quotes coming out from Taylor Fritz today about the court speed and where he's down on the court. I mean, I didn't really understand what he was on about, but I'm sure that you might.
The only quote I've got from Taylor Fritz is where he said conditions are fast. That's pretty straightforward. I don't know what he was. I didn't see this stuff about court positioning. I didn't read that, to be honest. I haven't seen that. But I mean, for me, it's quickish. I wouldn't say absolutely lightning quick like it was in the first couple of years. When you were there, it was very, very quick then. But it's not far off. I'd say it was slightly quicker than last year. I mean, it's a judgment call. People will disagree with that, but it looks a very good pace. It's a decent pace court. It's not like some of the puddings that we've been seeing in recent times in Paris and Shanghai. It is a decent pace service, and that would make sense given that it's in Italy and Sinner is the man. You would expect them to make it quick for him. You would think if this was played in Spain, they'd make it suit Alcaraz or whatever. But the quotes that I've seen, Alcaraz said in this first match, I found it much faster than in Paris. You have to get used to it, but I think I like this surface. Not sure what that means. I don't know how you can think you like it. You either like it or you don't. I'm not sure about that. It's not a glowing recommendation. But Diminor, he said, much clearer, as you would expect from Diminor. He said, for me, it feels a little bit faster than last year. Last year, it felt slower, and Taylor Fritz just simply said it's fast conditions. So, yeah, I would suggest getting towards the Turin that we saw a couple of years ago rather than last year's, which was a little bit slower. So, yeah, lively conditions, yeah.
Now, this is a must-win match for both these players. Will it be one of them might not even participate because Felix Auger-Aliassime looked out on his feet in the second set against Jannik Sinner. Yep. Both of them lost their opening match. Zverev obviously beat Shelton in straight sets. Sinner beat Felix Auger-Aliassime in straight sets. So watch your bets here because there could be a withdrawal before the match even starts, which means Sasha Bublik will probably come in if Felix doesn't participate. Now, watching that match of Felix and seeing him struggling in set number 2, to play a match like this in quick conditions, pretty much instantly, the following day, in 1 day's rest, and then you're in action here. That would suggest that these odds may be a little bit of value from my perspective here. I mean, Felix Auger-Aliassime was minus 108, Ben Shelton was minus 113. That brings us to a spread of 1.5 and a total of 24.5. As you would expect in fast conditions with these two players. Felix so good indoors, Shelton such a big server. You would expect that to be high. There is a whole host of markets available on the Bet Rivers app, but if he's going to play, which is the big if, and we get one set completed, we get paid out on a winner here. So you've got to be very careful of Felix here at minus 108, surely.
Yeah, I mean, you're paying the price, though, on Shelton, aren't you? Minus 113. He wouldn't probably be that price if Felix was fit. That's the issue. I mean, you're right. This match might not even take place, which would be kind of fitting for the season as a whole, wouldn't it, really? I mean, if Felix injured his calf against Sinner on Monday, who is he going to play? I'm not convinced that he is. I mean, it didn't look good, did it? He couldn't really move much in that second set. It's a calf injury, muscle injury. It might be all right, but it's very difficult to bet on a match like this when you're not convinced that one guy's going to play. I mean, Felix's record against left-handers is a little bit patchy. He's lost 4 of his last 7, but a lot depends with Felix. It's a lot is on the day with Felix. If he's hitting his backhand well on the day, then I don't see him having a major problem with lefties. But if he isn't, then that's when he's been beaten by lefties. He's when his backhand has really struggled. Now I've got a couple of ideas here that they're kind of against the grain, I suppose. If you think of Shelton against Felix, you'd probably be thinking high totals. I might play it the other way actually, because Felix's record against big servers is quite unusual. He doesn't play many tie breaks in the matches that he's played. He's actually played no tie breaks in 7 of his last 10 matches against the big servers in my database, which is quite very surprising, really, considering he's a big server as well. And only twice has he gone over 10.5 games in set 1 in those 10 matches against the big servers. And if you look at his stats against them, he's got a really good record on return. It's something that quite surprised me when I looked at this. If you look at his those 10 matches, the last 10 he's played against the big servers in my database, he's actually won 38% of return points, which is a huge amount against big servers like Pechi Pericard, all these guys. 38% of return points is huge, and he's broken serve 24% of the time. So he's got no problem against big servers as far as returning the serve is concerned. And if you add into the mix the fact that he's struggling to serve, which he was against Sinner, he couldn't push off on that calf. If he does play and that calf is still an issue, it's going to make serving for him a problem. So immediately I'm thinking under the totals. 24.5 I think is kind of high anyway. I'd certainly be leaning towards that, unders. And Shelton was, he was ragged, wasn't he, on his debut against Zverev? Far too, I don't know whether it was nerves. He seemed a bit overly pumped up. Maybe it's because his first match in the Tour Finals, that would make sense. But, far too many errors for me on the forehand side, which is his go-to weapon, obviously, apart from the serve. He likes to crush that forehand. Made way too many mistakes against Zverev. And he only won 5 second serve points all match. Every neutral rally, you felt like Zverev would win it eventually. You just felt like Shelton couldn't keep up, couldn't last in those neutral rallies, and that was what happened. He only won 5 second serve points all day. So I think it's very difficult to have a bet in this because we don't know about Felix, but we can use that to our advantage if you are having a bet in this. I was quite interested in no tie breaks at plus 110 with Bet Rivers. That is a very risky bet. That's a bet that could look very bad if this goes 7-6, 7-6. But the statistics suggest that Felix is very, very capable of handling big servers. So I'd either go no tie breaks at plus 10 or under 24.5. We are guessing a little bit with Felix. We don't know his condition, but if he can't serve, as he couldn't really against Sinner in the second set, then it makes the under totals look quite appealing.
That does look a big price. No tie break, I must admit. I mean,
Plus
I know. You minus money a tie break. I know it's quick call, but I don't think there's been many tie breaks in the tournament, has there? I mean, Zverev v Shelton, was there a tie break in that?
There
match?
Was one in that.
One there, wasn't there? Was it
none
one
in
Massetti? Sinner was none in Massetti.
Yeah,
I mean, I think there's been all matches have been straight sets as well. Every match.
Favourites as well, isn't it?
All favourites, all straight sets and all unders. So
24.5 seems high, but based on what Felix has done against big servers, which did surprise me. I didn't think he was, his return game was that good. I'd be interested to see someone like a Djokovic or something and compare it because that's huge. 38% of return points won against guys that are smashing it down. But there you go. Those are the stats.
But also you would need, for that 24.5, you'd need both players to be quite competitive. And the fact that one of them isn't competitive obviously helps your task for unders.
Yeah.
Because, it could be one-sided. So that's an interesting way to go through. Quite risky as well. We've got official there? Any official bet?
The official one's coming up. I think the official one
okay.
is next, which I think is pretty decent value.
Okay. Now, the next one is 2:30 p.m. It's the local time, Eastern time, that one there. And it's the match between Jannik Sinner and Alexander Zverev. Now, Sinner has obviously been superb in his first round match, and so was Zverev. Zverev served very well. Got through very convincingly in their matches against the two players we just spoke about there. But Sinner has had problems with Zverev in the past. They've met 9 times previously. 5-4 the Italian wins. Zverev has a good record in this tournament as well. Takes it very, very seriously. The last time they played was in Paris this year, where Sinner blitzed him 6-love, 6-1 in the semi-finals. But prior to that, in Vienna, Zverev had the chance to beat Sinner, because I bet him in play, and I'm still cursing that now. We lost 7-5 in the final set. There have been some tight matches between the two of these in majors. They've gone to some of them have gone to 5 sets. There's been lots of tie breaks. So this might not be as clear cut as the minus 840 that Bet Rivers have on this. Minus 610 is Zverev. 4.5 is the spread, and the total here is 20.5, which does look very, very cheap to me. What do you like here, Sean?
Yeah, it's way too short, isn't it, on Sinner, on the basis of what Zverev is capable of, when he puts his mind to it. I can kind of see why the money line's short because, has Zverev got the belief that he can win this match? I'm not so sure that he has. I mean, he looked very, very shaky again in the second set tiebreak against Shelton the other day. Very fortunate to win that tiebreak. I think he was up 4-0 down. He was certainly 4-0 down. I can't remember whether it was 5-0. I think it was 4-0. On set point down, when he was serving at set point down, I think it was 5-6. The serving was, the first serve was kind of at the bottom of the net. The second serve barely crept over the net. And he got away with it. Shelton hit another unforced error off the forehand. He got the ball he wanted and smashed the forehand into the net. So he was so shaky, Zverev, in that tiebreak. Very fortunate to get over it, get through that in straight sets. He was very relieved, I'm sure, at the end. I mean, I like the fact here that Zverev should be massively motivated against Sinner on the basis of what happened in Paris. He wasn't fit against Sinner in Paris. A leg injury, I think it was, on that particular occasion. And you would think that he will want to make up for that performance. That would make sense. If you're a professional sportsman, you've just been absolutely blitzed by this guy, and you've got a chance a week, 10 days later to do it again in what I would consider would be very favourable conditions, certainly for his serve, then you would think he'd be very much up for this, certainly initially. And as you said, he was much closer in Vienna to Sinner. Again, that was a kind of medium slow conditions, kind of a little bit slow actually in Vienna, and it was 7-5 in the final set. Again, I mean, Sinner deserved to win the match. I'm not questioning that, but Zverev he just lacks that belief, and he just went all passive at the end of that match. I remember watching it because Sinner wasn't well in that match. He had cramps. He was walking like an old man at one stage. Well, a lot of the stages towards the end. And Zverev again, he was backing off, and it frustrates me. It must frustrate his fans and his camp that he does that. But in these conditions here in Turin, a bit of altitude, his serve is a massive weapon here. He's held serve 89% of the time in his career in the Tour Finals, and some of those matches were in slower conditions than here. When it was held in London, it was at times it was kind of stodgy there. Certainly slower than here in Turin. He's still held serve 89% of the time, and this is against obviously the best players in the world. Sinner's held serve 92% of the time in his Tour Finals matches in Turin. So immediately I'm thinking about totals in some way. I mean, you would expect Jannik Sinner to win this match given the way he's playing at the minute. You just would expect it. But I think this would be really interesting to see what Alexander Zverev is actually made of here. I've long questioned his mental strength. For him, he should be thinking, if he's still got ideas of winning majors, he should be thinking, right, I'm not having this. I was injured a little bit against Sinner last time. We're not having this again. He should be coming out. He should be hurt by what happened in Paris, and he should come out firing. I hope he will. Anyway, you would expect someone to do that. With Zverev, you're never really sure. I feel like with the over totals, the over 20.5, I just think if he loses the opening set quite easily, like a 6-3 or something like that, you feel like with Zverev, the way he is mentally and the way his season's gone, certainly latterly, you wouldn't be surprised if he did sort of fade away a bit in the second set. But I do expect set one to be close. In these conditions, I mean, Sinner didn't have things all his own way against Felix on Monday. In the opening set before Felix's injury became noticeable, that one nearly went to a tiebreak, a couple of points away from a tiebreak. So if Zverev does what he does well, which is the big serve, and attacking, if he serves like he did against Shelton, 81% first serves he made against Shelton. If he's serving around 75, 80+% in these conditions, you would certainly fancy his chances of making set one a long one. And I was quite surprised that over 10.5 games in set one is plus 220 with Bet Rivers. I find that pretty big. So I'm happy to take a chance on Zverev. You might have to watch from behind the sofa at times with Zverev, but that's how it is with him. But yeah, I think it's worth taking a chance on that price.
Well, it's all on the what you call it, isn't it? It's all on the tolls. The total here is 20.5, which means it's going to be, they've got it in for quite a low match, which means that the over 10.5 is all going to be compiled from that.
Yeah.
Means you see, but my first line looking at 20.5 games. I mean, I can see this first set being really tight, 7-6, and then Sinner winning it 6-3 in the second set.
That would make sense. I mean,
yeah.
It's all about, he is so frustrating, Zverev. With the weapons that he's got, he just has that mentality where he just likes to sort of hang back, and you just want to see him go for it a bit more. He wouldn't have to change that much in his game. He's perfectly competent and capable of coming to the net. He's a perfectly capable volley. He's played some fabulous volleys against one in particular against Shelton was sublime. He's more than capable of doing it, which makes it more frustrating because he does just hang back so far behind the baseline at times and just kind of wait for someone else to miss or wait too long for an opportunity. It's frustrating. If he was more proactive, I think you'd find a very, very serious a major contender there. But obviously, a lot of it is in the mind, isn't it? And for me, that's his issue.
So there you have it. They are the two matches. 2:30. 8 a.m. first match. Shelton, Felix Auger-Aliassime. Head across to the BetRivers website. If you download the app, you'll be able to watch have a bet. You'll be able to watch it on the app, on the BetRivers app. And also Jannik Sinner against Alexander Zverev. That's the evening match over here in Europe at 2:30 lunchtime stateside. So that is it for today. Remember, there is loads of content coming your way on the channel. Betting Weekly Live, 11 o'clock through Monday through to Friday. All the best soccer action with all the UK team, the European team there, looking at all the soccer action. Betting Weekly Tennis Live, I'll be on today with Roy Giovanni, and I'll be back on tomorrow as well with Mitch Michaels, looking at all the tennis in play at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And as I said at the top of the show, our show that is in the best form on the channel by some distance is Betting Weekly Live PM, American version, stateside, looking at the NFL, looking at the NBA. Doug Kazarian and Mike Carver are bidding for a 6th successive daily double. You can't miss that. They are absolutely on fire. And if you want to follow all the stuff on socials at Because We Win, Sean has given us a preview today of today's matches. Might not be able to get there in time for the first one, but the second one, you'll definitely have a little look at that as well. And throughout the tournament, there'll be exclusive content on Instagram. Join us tomorrow for our final Betting Weekly Game Bet match of the 2025 season. That has been it for today. One official play. And what is that, Sean?
That is set 1 over 10.5 games in the match between Jannik Sinner and Alexander Zverev. That's a plus 220 chance with Bet Rivers.
Yeah, nice price that. Plus 220, over 10.5. Zverev, I love that bet. And I like the over 20.5 in the match as well. So we're all on overs for Sinner, Zverev, Shelton, Auger-Aliassime. It could be Shelton against Bublik, couldn't it? So we'll find out tomorrow. Anyway, that's it for today. Speak to you again tomorrow. We'll be back with Betting Weekly Game Bet Match.